Welcome to 25 Days of Animal Facts. Today we're talking about mule deer. Here out in the West and Midwest, mule deer are our main species of deer. Mule deer get their name from their large ears, which are said to resemble a mule's because of the size. You can also see that one distinct feature they have is that black mask on their face, so this area here, which white-tailed deer don't tend to have. Or at least when they do, it's not as prominent as it is on the mule deer. Mule deer are also a lot larger than white-tailed deer, or even the Sitka black-tailed deer, which is actually a subspecies of mule deer. Another very easy way to tell them apart is they have very distinct tails. So you can see mule deer here on the left have those skinny tails with a black tip. White-tailed deer have that very iconic white flag of a tail. And then black-tailed deer actually have a smaller tail that is very prominently black. Another important difference is going to be the antlers between the two. So mule deer have these branching antlers, whereas white-tailed deer have kind of more of a streamlined antler with tines coming off of it. So to give you a real-world example, here's a white-tailed deer's antler where you can see it's just kind of one main tine or one main branch with the points coming off of it. And here's a mule deer antler where you can see it does have the one little part coming off, but otherwise it's forked, and it's forked. Okay, sorry, one last example. So this is a white-tailed deer. Main branch, we've got a tine, a tine, a tine. Mule deer skull, we have, not really tines, we have a branch, a branch, a branch. If you look at these deer, you might notice that this one has very different antlers than the rest. This is a deer that's in velvet, so every single year they actually shed the antlers, where they're then covered in a fur-like layer while they regrow that supplies blood to them as they grow a new set of antlers. They can drop these when they're rubbing against things, or just while they're running. Speaking of running, did you see that bounding leap that deer was doing? That's called strutting. It's actually a very unique way of getting around. And when these guys run, boy do they run. They can reach speeds of up to 45 miles per hour. So a lot of people might think of mule deer as grazers. They're actually what's known as a browser grazer. So they have the four-chambered stomach the same way that a cow or an elk does, but they're not quite as efficient at regurgitating cud and getting the nutrients from their food as those other animals. So they require a bit more of a nutritious source of food, so they're going to be browsing on more nutritious leaves or bark and that kind of thing. Here in my local area, one threat to our mule deer species is actually the spread of invasive species such as cheatgrass, which can cause worse fire seasons, outcompete our native plants, which greatly affects things like our sagebrush, which is able to poke up above the snow and provide very vital winter habitat for the deer. Deer tend to migrate down from the higher elevations in the mountains to the lower valleys in the winter to find food a little more easily and get a little bit out of the harsher temperatures. Migrating is a very large part of their lives. They can migrate up to 100 miles. If we take a look at a full skull, you can see that they don't have any front top teeth on there. And usually a healthy prime adult doe, female deer, will give birth to twins, so 2 fawns at a time. The fawn to doe ratio is actually used as an indication of how well a species is doing in any given area. The biggest threats to mule deer species are going to be poaching, habitat fragmentation, otherwise habitat loss, and poor foraging, usually caused by non-nutritious plants, climate change, invasive species, that kind of thing. I hope that you're able to learn something new or interesting about mule deer today, and as always, I definitely encourage you to look up more facts about them.